Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. NHK reports that a U.S. operation named Project Freedom to guide ships through the strategic Strait of Hormuz escalated into an exchange of fire with Iranian forces this week. The U.S. Central Command stated its forces sank 6 Iranian fast boats using helicopters, while Iran's state-run broadcaster claimed its military fired warning shots at a U.S. Navy destroyer. Despite these confrontations, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth affirmed on Tuesday that the ceasefire is not over and cautioned Iran to act prudently to avoid further escalation. President Donald Trump echoed this, stating he would be the one to declare a ceasefire violation and that Iranians know what to do and what not to do. He also expressed optimism about negotiations, noting Iran wants to make a deal. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, however, pushed back, warning that only their designated routes are safe. Adding to regional tensions, UAE defense officials reported new Iranian attacks using missiles and drones on Tuesday, following previous strikes on oil facilities and a tanker. However, an Iranian military spokesperson denied recent operations against the UAE, warning of a crushing response if the UAE takes action. The Canadian press reports that President Donald Trump announced on Tuesday evening a pause in the U.S. effort to guide stranded vessels out of the Strait of Hormuz. This decision, conveyed via social media, aims to allow time for a deal to be finalized to end the Iran war. However, Trump clarified that the American forces' blockade of Iranian ports would remain in place. The president cited requests from Pakistan and other countries, significant U.S. military success against Iran, and great progress towards a complete and final agreement with Iranian representatives as reasons for the temporary halt. The U.S. operation in the Strait, a critical global energy waterway, began on Monday to aid thousands of civilian sailors trapped by Iran's effective closure, which has driven up fuel prices and rattled the global economy. Despite the pause, the situation remains tense, with the UAE reporting new drone and missile attacks from Iran, although U.S. officials maintain a ceasefire is largely holding. Global News reports that the World Health Organization believes there may have been human-to-human transmission of Hantavirus in a suspected outbreak aboard the MV Hondius cruise ship, which was traveling from Argentina to Cape Verde. While Hantavirus is primarily a rodent-borne illness, a WHO official indicated that close contacts, such as couples sharing cabins, could have spread the virus, alongside potential exposure on African islands known for high rodent populations. Out of 147 passengers and crew, 7 fell ill, resulting in 3 deaths, 1 critically ill patient who is improving, and 3 with mild symptoms. Passengers have been asked to remain in their cabins for disinfection, and 2 patients are being medically evacuated to the Netherlands. Despite these cases, the WHO assesses the risk to the global population as low, emphasizing that the virus does not spread like influenza or COVID-19. CNN reports that U.S. Secretary of State Rubio announced on the 5th his expectation that the Taiwan issue would definitely be on the agenda at the upcoming U.S.-China summit. The meeting between President Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping is scheduled for May 14th and 15th in Beijing. Secretary Rubio explicitly stated that the Taiwan issue would undoubtedly be discussed, emphasizing that any instability in Taiwan or the wider Indo-Pacific region would not serve the interests of either the United States or China. Additionally, he expressed hope that during Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi's visit to China on the 6th for talks with Foreign Minister Wang Yi, China would leverage its influence to urge Iran to cease its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Rubio further noted that such a cessation would also be beneficial. Phoenix New Media reports that AI startup Anthropic has pledged to spend an estimated $200 billion on Google Cloud services and chips over the next 5 years. This significant commitment represents more than 40% of Google's recently disclosed revenue backlog, leading to a 2% rise in Alphabet's stock in Tuesday's after-hours trading. Anthropic stated that it trains and operates its Claude AI model on various hardware, including Amazon AWS Trainium, Google TPU, and NVIDIA GPUs. This agreement follows Google's prior investment of $10 billion in Anthropic in April, with a potential additional $30 billion contingent on performance targets to expand computing capabilities. Furthermore, Anthropic has also secured a comparable deal with Amazon, committing to purchase over $100 billion in computing resources from Amazon AWS over the next decade, while Amazon will invest up to $25 billion, adding to an initial $8 billion. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.